Hey, welcome in everybody to the Nhl Ducks postgame show live, not only on the Nhl Network, but on Catella Chronicles. Like and subscribe over there. I'm a little out of breath because I talked a little World Baseball Classic. It was boring, but we got into the Ducks. We were watching the Ducks, and the Ducks won. Our guy from Halos in the Infield, James, Big Game James, was there in attendance, so hopefully we hear from him. But first of all, I'm Todd Fox. That's Dominique from Catella Chronicles. How you doing, my friend?
It's a win. It was a heartburn, Pepsi AC kind of type game, and the Ducks found a way to get a win in a big fashion. And there's a lot to go over here today as the Ducks continue their winning ways.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get into the comments. There's a lot to get into. There's also that thing called the trade deadline that's taking place.
It did kind of happen a little bit, and the Ducks made two minor moves. Some may say big moves, some may say minor moves. But again, we'll break it on down, and the Ducks responded relatively well tonight. Definitely not the cleanest game of the season, not by any stretch of the imagination of what you want moving forward. But the cardiac quackers do it again, find a way to win, and they looked pretty smooth doing it as well.
Dude, this team has some kind of way to tug on your feelings and your heartstrings and just everything, because like Roy Quack says right here, did anyone else pull their hair out? If I could grow it, I would.
You could grow it out of the chin.
Yeah, we could pull that kind of hair out. But this one was crazy, man. It went back and forth. If you look at the shots, 33-28 Ducks. You had the hits were pretty clean. The power play minutes weren't as bad. This was, for the most part, a clean game, but you're starting to see with the trades that they made and just the way that they've been playing since you mentioned the other night when they hit that 7-game losing streak, or was it 9-game losing streak? I forgot.
9-game losing streak. Yeah.
9-game losing streak. They've just played their ass off. They've been in every hockey game. They're never out of it. And tonight, look, normally any other team, even the Ducks in the past, would you agree,
Yep.
Dom, would have just, after giving up 3 goals the way they did, and we'll talk about those goals. Those I had a problem with a couple of those, but
yeah.
To blow a game like that, and you're thinking, damn, you went from 2 up to 1 down, they're pretty much going to roll over. But that's not this year's team, Dom.
No, not at all. And you think about it in this way. It was very wide open style of play all game long for both teams. And Montreal is a terrifically talented team in their own right. And this matchup is going to get very more intense, and I think even more interesting when we go on the 4-game Canadian road trip, because we finish off that 4-game road trip in Montreal. So I think you're going to get a lot of carryover play from this game into the next time these two teams meet. I think this is just purely a game where you hadn't seen each other yet this season. The first 2 periods, and even kind of all game, it felt like both teams were just feeling each other out, throwing anything at the wall, seeing what's sticked. And both goalies, even though they weren't the sharpest tool in the sheds, it was Dostal that came up clutch in the shootout session, keeping the Ducks 8-0 perfecto in the shootout this season. So we always talk about this. By any means necessary, right? You're going to win. You got to do it by any means necessary. And tonight is one of those nights once again at the end of the day, and the Ducks get the win, which is awesome.
Yeah, and real quick right here at Dom says Dimitro, we finally have someone to run the point. John Carlson. So we had 2 Carlsons now.
Yeah, perfect segue. The big deal that happened last night just after 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern time, the Ducks acquire John Carlson. Now, there is a difference. John Carlson, 1 S, Leo Carlson, 2 S's. So that's how you can distinct the differences here in Anaheim, people. But a terrific move. The Ducks giving up a conditional first-round pick in either 2026 or 2027, and then a 2027 third-round pick as well. A savvy veteran, 36 years old. Yes, he could be potentially a rental that's contracts up at the end of the season, but he is a top 10 NHL defenseman. He has 46 points coming into what would be probably his first game as a Duck on Sunday. 10 goals, 36 assists. He had been with the Capitals his entire career. It would be the equivalent of if we had traded Ryan Getzlaf his final season, right? That's kind of what that equivalent is of the impact. Over 1,100 points with the Capitals. I want to say 15 plus seasons with Ovechkin and Backstrom. It's a big trade, and he didn't find out about it until this morning. But as a savvy veteran, you get the opportunity to not only be in playoff contention, but potentially be in a Pacific Division title contention, because as Rally Chris said, Golden Knights losing 3-1 in the third. So if that score holds, we'll check it as we go along here on the postgame show tonight. The Ducks could put their head to the pillow tonight, first place in the Pacific Division. But I think, in my opinion, that trade, to kind of shorthand it, I would give the Ducks a good A- on that trade. I know some people felt that they gave up too much on the draft pick side of things, but hey, if you're winning your pivotal playoff contending teams, what good is a first round pick going to do for you if you're getting consistently pick 26, 27, 28? You can afford that. And if the Ducks somehow make it to the playoffs, look well, and John Carlson wants to stay for kind of like a Gudis deal, like a 1-2 year deal, I'd be more than willing to have that, because a pairing like that with Jacob Trouba and Jackson Lacombe is going to be really, really big to run the point.
And you know what? Getting a player like Carlson, assistant captain over there, still with Washington, still playing, like you said, at a high level, and is going to probably play a little bit harder now playing under Coach Q and a team that's very energetic. And he could just slide in there, sort of like back in the day when the Ducks got the Niedermeyer brothers, veteran savvy added to a young team along with Solani, and they just all fit. So that's what that kind of reminds me of. Carlson as a Niedermeyer brother, because he just brings so much skill and experience to this line.
100%. And I think overall, at the end of the day, if you look at it from a little bit broader perspective, tonight was a great example. The Ducks defense tonight was not great, right? The young guys, Pavel Minchikov, who's been playing better throughout the entirety of this season thus far, and Olin Zellweger getting basically outworked by Montreal. That could be something that the John Carlson move cleans up a little bit in that case scenario, because Gudis, Lacombe, Trouba, those three guys aren't going anywhere. And the trade deadline has passed, so it's not like the other guys are going anywhere as well. But the Ducks are going to have some decisions to make. Luckily, Ian Moore, who's typically a defenseman, has been playing more so as a forward lately and kind of a two-way player. So they're kind of shifting into a forward position, which is fine. He's played exceptionally well thus far, pairing with that back-end line of Ross Johnson and Ryan Failing, who 4-year contract extension for Ryan Failing. Like, that kind of goes under the radar. We talked about him after the game the other night against oh my God, who am I blanking? Who did we beat? Islanders.
Who did we beat, right?
Who did we beat?
So good.
It feels so good. Who did we lose to? Who we beat? But yeah, he gets that 4-year, $15 million extension. And the two deals, I've said it once and I'll say it again, the two deals we've made with the Philadelphia Flyers for Gauthier, who's going to get his bag soon enough, and now Failing getting the 4-year deal. We're looking pretty smart in those deals right now, and it's paying off. And Failing really has resurged his career by playing here in Anaheim.
Verbeek is pulling off some gems right now. You can't be upset with anything he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, trust the process. I'm all in, baby.
And I agree with Pat Verbeek today on the trade deadline. He said he was kicking the tires on a lot of different moves, but nothing seemed right in terms of the cost, right? And I think a lot of people thought there was going to be more to this trade deadline than there was. I kind of thought that a little bit too, and I said the other night, I think the Ducks are going to stand pat or do something minimal. Well, they didn't do anything minimal. They had that big defensive signing, or trade last night. The secondary move on that, tip of the cap to Ryan Strome. He gets sent to Calgary for a 2027 7th-round pick. That was a salary dump. He still had 1 year, $5 million left. Calgary's retaining that entire salary for the rest of this year and all of next year. But I have no ill will to Ryan Strome. He was with us for the last couple of seasons through the dog days. And even though he had a lot of inconsistencies this season in and out of the lineup, not quite fitting the scheme of the Joel Quenneville style of play, and a couple of the younger guys kind of poking him out of the lineup, it just happened. And the Ducks play Calgary 2 more times this year, so he'll get a little friendly fire at the end of the day. But absolutely much love to Ryan Strome. He produced a lot and did as much as he could with the Ducks in his mini tenure.
Absolutely. So there you are, the man of the hour, Catella Chronicles' own Dominic Lorenz, filling you in on the trades and the comings and goings of this team, and we're going to get more into it because we're going to talk about tonight's win, as the Ducks could be jumping well, they've already jumped Vegas, but they could hold on, like Dominique said, for first place. We're going to get into the scoring and the 3 stars of the game, but before we do that, we got to talk about the scoring because there was a lot of it. 10 goals in all before we get to the shootout, because we're going to have to talk in depth about that shootout. That shootout was amazing.
Correct. And food for thought, Riley Chris helping us out. Cheers to you, Riley Chris. Happy Friday. Not only is Vegas losing 3-1 as we speak, St. Louis, who the Ducks are going to see on Sunday at Honda Center, again, I'll be at that game, are in San Jose late in the third, leading San Jose 2-1. Minnesota's beating Vegas 3-1. And last but definitely not least, Edmonton already lost today, getting doubled up at home by Carolina 6-3, as it says on the bottom of the screen. So overall, this could be a massive night for the Ducks. And again, keep the foot on the gas pedal and keep the wins coming, because they could definitely garner some points, which they already did. They took the extra point away from Montreal and could have it's not much of a cushion, but at least you can go to bed and wake up tomorrow and be a little happier.
Yeah, and one thing before you get into the scoring right now, the Ducks beat a good team, no matter what. Yes. And Montreal fans traveled tonight, and the one thing I loved about it is when they got that little 3 goals that we'll talk about, you heard their home field or their home ice celebration of ole, 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 ole. That shit stopped real quick.
Yeah, that's thank God it did. But I will give credit. We were talking to our producer to Stars, or I was, Randy Yaz, behind the scenes, and he was messaging me saying the Canadian fans are pissing him off, and he's watching TV up north. And I said, I'll be honest, every Canadian team travels well.
Oh, yeah.
When they always travel, it doesn't matter where you are, West Coast, East Coast, Central, but in particular Honda Center, the East Coast Canadian teams always travel well because they only come out here once a year. So Montreal, at the end of the month, when Toronto comes to town, that's going to be massive. The transplants come in town. And even the West Coast teams, Calgary fans travel, Vancouver, Edmonton. Who else am I missing from Ottawa? I've seen more Ottawa fans of late come on out. So it was not surprising to me. A lot of the East Coast and the Canadian teams come on back.
And real quick, too, before we get into the scoring, I got to say one more thing. The Ducks creating this thing called separation, because before the All-Star or the Olympics, the Ducks were trailing Edmonton by 3, I believe. And now you're talking about they're 5 up on Edmonton.
Yeah.
They're 6 up on Seattle. So that's awesome.
7 wins in their last 8 games. Home cooking does the trick. Home cooking is great. And that one loss to Colorado, I'm not mad at.
Not at all. They could have lost that one 10-1, bro.
Am I mad that we lose? Winning is always fun. But it's Colorado. And we, at least at the end of the day, we played all 3 games against Colorado. We stole a game in Colorado via the shootout.
That was huge.
I will take that all day, every day. And that win was after that massive 9-game losing streak. So I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at the end of the day.
Positive vibes, my man.
Positive vibes. Something that we don't, we're not as used to with the Angels at times. But, we keep on trailing. However, let's do indeed get to that scoring opportunity. Your hand's
gonna be here all night, my man.
Your hand's gonna be firing on the goal buzzer here tonight. And the Ducks, can you believe this? Sit down, everybody. Buckle the seatbelts. The Ducks scored first tonight.
What?
1.5 guesses. Who scored first?
Gauthier?
It's Cutter Gauthier. This kid's on fire. 32 goals on the season. He has now scored 8 goals in his last 7 games. This Pat's crazy. And Leo Carlson picking up his 31st assist, and Chris Kreider netting his 16th.
Dom, those 3 together are getting just better and better on the nightly basis, bro.
Yep, that top line for the Ducks continues to prove a lot of wealth. Then after that, again, high-scoring affair. Montreal goes back-to-back. Their captain, Suzuki, picks up his 20th. The youngster in Hudson, who I thought out of everybody, I will give some props to Montreal tonight. Their youngster who picked up his 11th goal in the first period on the power play, Hudson, He was quick. He was speedy. That's a nasty little player in the best possible way
Mm-hmm.
to balance Suzuki and Caulfield. So Montreal is no joke. They got some ballers.
Dude,
And
71 points. Sorry to interrupt, but 71
Yeah.
points for Suzuki, man. That's a good season.
Very good season. Then the Ducks somehow are able to break even and go to the first period break, tied at 2. And let me put it in perspective. First 3 goals in the game happening within the first 3 minutes and 33 seconds, and the Ducks had a goal wiped off the board on an offside call.
Yeah.
So really, the Ducks could have had a massive first period, but you continue to ball up. Radko Gudas nets his second of the season late from Vetrano and failing that back into the rotation with Vetrano coming back. That's a boost. I know it was in the comment section a little ways away, but we haven't talked about this, and alt account will bring this point up. Terry and Mikhail Gramlin haven't been in the lineup lately. Terry's still hurt, upper body injury, and Gramlin we haven't seen since the Olympic break. I think he's a little banged up from the Olympics and had another injury. So there's still 2 massive cats that are not even on the ice for the Ducks, and they're playing this well.
Yeah,
it's a battle for positioning right now because everybody's under Joe Quenneville's thumb.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I love this goal there in this late in the first period because it was your fourth line basically. I mean, it was your defensive traditional goal, and we heard this.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Again, by any means necessary. Go up 1-0.
Scrappy goal, man.
Just scrappy goal. And again, the Ducks don't normally take early leads in hockey games, so we'll take it. We go to the second period, and the Ducks come out victorious in the second period as Jackson Lacombe nets his 7th of the season on the power play from Gauthier and Kreider. Oh, look, those guys have multi-point games again. How about that from your top line?
Doesn't that sound like a what is it called? A lawyer group? Come down to the law offices of Gauthier and Kreider.
Yeah. Hey, like UPS says, if it fits, it ships. And if the Ducks can put it to the back of the net, I don't care who you are, how you get it done. Go out and win the whole dang thing. Third period is where it gets a little nutso. 35 seconds into it, we're enjoying a 2-goal lead. Uncle Leo Carlson, 21st goal of the year. He's been kind of kept off the goal scoring trend of late.
True.
But nets his 21st, and Chris Kreider gets his 3rd assist of the game, this time with Jacob Trouba, who gets his 19th assist of the season. And the Ducks have a 4-2 lead with just about 12 and a half minutes to go in this hockey game.
Now, however, indeed.
There's a however coming.
I love the fact that Kreider gets involved again, and Trouba. I mean, I'm telling you, like the comments are saying right here, the depth is going to be great going into the postseason.
Absolutely. Then you have the however portion of this conversation.
Yeah.
3 nearly unanswered goals by the Montreal Canadiens as Caulfield gets his 36th, Carrier gets his 7th, Caulfield again gets his 37th. By no means necessary were all 3 of them acceptable goals. One, Dostal's a little bit behind. The other is kind of a wacky tip in. The other one is a good screen. And one, the Ducks couldn't quite get it out of the zone. And let's be real, Montreal was pressing the Ducks defense and hammering them consistently and preventing them from getting out of their own defensive zone.
And here's
balance that out.
I got to ask you a question, Dominique, because this is what I feel. I want to see if you agree or disagree, or you have a different take on it before we get into because at this point they're down 5-4.
Correct.
Each one of those goals that you talked about on a deflection or with heavy traffic, when you watch Dostal, when he doesn't have traffic around him, and maybe that's why he's so good in these goddamn shootouts. Yeah, he's awesome. He guesses right, dude. He just he puts the glove or the stick in the right spot. But it just seems when there's traffic, dude, it's like, ooh, it's 50-50, man. Do you get that feeling with him?
Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And I think it's a situation we have to remember, Dostal is still very young, 25 years of age. And this is his first time being a number 1 goaltender for an NHL squad. He was always behind John Gibson the last couple of seasons. So I think there's still a little bit of a learning curve. We put him up on a high pedestal for everything that he does well. I still think there's a lot of pieces to his game that need to continue to improve. The foundation of his game is still absolutely awesome. But there are some times where you could give the sentiment that some of the goals that gets allowed are a little bit soft.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's still a part of the learning curve, not trying to make excuses, but you got to clean that up, especially when you go to the postseason and you're going to be goaltender numero uno. You got to clean those up against the teams like the Dallas Stars, like the Minnesota Wild, Colorado Avalanche, Vegas, Edmonton, so on and so forth.
And I think, Dom, to your point, if we get guys like Failing and we get guys like Carlson we just got from the Capitals and other guys like Seneca to do the dirty work, to push the guys out of the way and get that traffic out of his view.
Yep.
I think Dostal will come up big if we're continually allowing teams to bully themselves in front of our net. I think that's where we're going to have problems in the playoffs.
And that's where that communication between the back end defense of the Ducks and Dostal in practice really comes together. Adding John Carlson in the mix, you got veterans now like Trouba, Gudas, and even though he's still young, I'm considering Jackson Lacombe as a veteran on this team because he's been through it with us lately. To me, if you get everybody on the same page, if it's on the penalty kill or even strength, whatever the case may be, if you have that good communication of when to open up a lane and when to close the lane, sometimes it's harder depending on the opposing team, how they kind of rick and rack them together in front of the blue paint.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just based on communication at that point and just being ready because we know what Dostal can do. We'll talk about his performance in the shootout in just a moment. But I think it's communication, still green and growing in between the pipes. But I still have all the faith in Dostal. And when the Ducks can score 5+ goals a night and counter his semi-mediocre performance.
Yes, definitely. But let's see what happens. So where we left off, Dom was doing the scoring. You got knee in the shins, and then you got kicked in the balls. Yep. 3 goals within 5 minutes, and you go from 4-2 up to 5-4 down. What happened after that, my friend?
Savvy veteranship. That's what happened. Chris Kreider having a magical night, a 4-point performance. He nets his 21st goal of the season. If anybody told me how strong Chris Kreider would be for us this season coming over from the New York Rangers, I would have said, of course, the savvy veteranship. Did I think he would have as big of an impact as massively as he's had this year and been on the ice a lot this year? Maybe, maybe not. But he nets one with less than 42 seconds remaining.
Clutch.
And the Ducks, and that whole time, the minute and a half leading into that goal, Ducks could not enter their offensive zone. Puck was coming out. Great defense from Montreal. Beckett Seneca overskated a play, lost the zone, re-entered it, and kind of started the whole circulation behind the net that ended up getting to him, Lacombe, Trouba, point shot, and a little wristy deflector off the shaft of the stick. The shaft works, people. The shaft works. And then I swear, and the fun thing is the numbers that they talked about. Trouba, Trouba's 20th assist and Lacombe's 36th assist of the season. Both teams are very good in the overtime session.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal was 9-5. The Ducks were 7-4, 7-3. And then in shootouts, the Ducks were 7-0. Montreal 2-4. So a very distinctive difference, but both teams very good in extra sessions and on. And this overtime session was 97% Montreal down the dick of the Ducks defense in front of Dostal. See, I use the de-alliteration.
I saw it.
You quadruple D right there. And the Ducks defense stood dynamically strong. I mean, I'm using the D references now. I'm on the kick now. And when you continue with that, great saves by Dostal to open it up. The Ducks tried to get down with some odd man rushes, couldn't get anything going. But the power play for Montreal after Zellweger's trip, kind of incidental contact, but a penalty is a penalty. Trouba, Gudas, Paling, You gentlemen get the honorary badge of honor for the overtime session. They were out there pretty much that whole power play unit time and failing intercepting stick over in the crossing lane to prevent that final shot before the buzzer was massive. Gudis lining the puck multiple times out of defensive zone, past neutral zone the opposite way. Those three guys stood exceptionally tall in front of Dostal in such a dynamic way.
And you know what I love about our fans, Dom, at the Honda Center is you can feel the Montreal, Canadian fans getting into it, wanting get that victory because they felt like, damn, it shouldn't have been in overtime. They wanted to steal one from us. But you see the appreciation because the Ducks fans win, lose, or draw, bad season or great season like this season, the fans are just as passionate. They know the game. And they gave the Ducks a standing ovation. Those defensemen that you mentioned that were out there so long on the ice, when they finally skated to the shootout, they gave them a standing ovation because that was 4-on-3 in overtime. That's a lot of wide open ice. And again, like you said, they were in our zone the entire time. What great defense. I love the way this team steps it up in overtime and in shootouts, and the fans let them know it.
No fear. There is no fear in this Ducks team right now. If they're down multiple goals, they will come back. If they lead by multiple goals, well, let's make it interesting for the fans and make them get their money's worth and really build the anticipation and excitement. Again, giving up a 2-goal lead is not in the playbook, and I guarantee that's something that they're going to continue to work on. Again, John Carlson's coming. That's going to be a massive addition to this blue line. As Rally Chris adds, Blues beat the Sharks in OT, and Minnesota has a 4-1 lead now with only 4 minutes remaining.
We got first place for the night.
This is going to be first place. You get to go to bed and wake up with the Ducks in first place.
Nice. Now we get to the shootout. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Just, Joe Quenneville's going to clean things up. And the Ducks, again, this is the tip of the iceberg, fans. I don't want to bury the lead on this. Even with the inconsistencies that we've seen from the Ducks defense, that has been the number one issue. And then I would say goaltending is probably second, with Dostal maybe not being as A+ as he's been in the past. But when you score goals and you have a high octane offense, some of those things can negate. When you win, some of those things get negated. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. The Toronto just now getting back into regular playing format. John Carlson is coming to town. Terry isn't back yet. Granlund's not back yet. We have it feels, even though today was a trade deadline and the Ducks made 2 moves, getting a defenseman, losing Ryan Strome, it's going to feel even bigger when you get boosts of energy from Terry and Granlund. That's going to be huge. And hopefully some of those inconsistencies will get shorn up a little bit in the best way possible.
I wholeheartedly agree, man. And I think it will. I think you're going to see a different style of play defensively come playoff time, because it's fun to start saying come playoff time, because I think at this point we're getting the feeling that it's just getting closer. Like this team keeps rolling up the W's. They're going to get there. They have grown right in front of our eyes in one season.
Absolutely.
Now, and there's still a lot of growth to go. That's the best part. But to start this, again, I love Uncle Leo. I know he's your favorite player. But I was a little disappointed that first shot, man. I'm like, dude, you waited way too long, because one of the Montreal players did the exact same thing. He tried to muscle his way, bully his way into the goalie. And it just didn't work out. And I really felt, man, we got to take the lead in this shootout, man. I don't like when we're not in the lead or we've missed a couple. And this is the first one I've seen all year. Where the first
your cheeks were clenched.
Where the first 6 nobody scored, dude.
This is the thing. And I think it cycles back to these two teams don't see each other that often.
True.
So there's only so much you can see on the scouting tape, right? So you're kind of going in blindly in that case. So I'm not completely surprised that this just kind of felt like a game that would go extra innings in the shootout. And you knew when Mason McTavish, who's been perfect all year, he missed on a shot. Here we go again. You go back and forth. And I loved Dostal on 2 of the shots from Montreal. One, he was able to poke check away, which was great. Another,
that was awesome.
He stacked the pads and kind of got into the leg of Suzuki and gave a nice little shove at the end. There was a little jostling on that side, but Dostal's willing to play the card. And that bad man again.
Dude.
Bad man again in the 4th round. Cutter Goche gets the Ducks on the board first in the shootout. Ivan Demidov ties it up right away. And then the savvy veteranship, theme of the night, Alex Killorn using speed and a little bit of a wicked snapshot to send that one through. And last but not least, Dostal, who comes up big when you need him to be, gets that final save, locks in the 8th shootout win of the season. Winners of 7 of their last 8. A 2-game winning streak and not looking anymore. First place, Anaheim Ducks.
Dude, his goaltending was amazing tonight. The glove handling on the shootout was great because I love how he starts about 5 to 7 feet from the net and then retreats and eases his way in, kind of gets a feel to see where the player is going. And I think the only one, I forget who was, you mentioned it, who went slow like McTavish for Montreal. That he was the only one where he looked a little lost, but guessed right. Yeah. I thought every other shot that he took on, even the goal he gave up, he was right there.
Well,
so
if you look at his style of going, and I would try to stand up and do the interpretation, but he comes out, like you said, and then he kind of retreats back. But as he retreats back, he lowers the body to kind of keep the arms near the body and the glove right there and the stick parallel to the ice. Mm-hmm. And he lowers. And then when he anticipates a higher shot, he'll kind of pop up and get ready. So it's almost like, get ready. I'm going to lower. And then it's just that style of goaltending. And it works. And especially if you're going to have an opposing team that maybe has seen the tape on him and still try to go short side or low side through the 5-hole.
It's not going to work.
It's going to work every single freaking time.
Yeah, he slides to the side of the net. If you try to go to the side and he'd go low, you have to almost put in the perfect like backhand or little wrist shot. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, like he is one of the more phenomenal goalies I've seen in shootouts. And that's not me being biased or a homer. I just think he's really at his best in a shootout or even like in overtime. I don't know what it is, but he just seems more lively. And you saw how pumped up when he got that final save, like you said. Yeah. I mean, dude, I thought he was going to punch somebody. It was so awesome, man. He was so happy.
Yeah, no, and the fans at Honda Center rallying around everybody, and just a great overall win tonight. From rags to riches, back to rags, back to riches. You're going to have those games, and the Ducks have seen them in the regular season and the postseason before, and they get the job done and get the 6-5 shootout win.
See, and we've almost gone 30 minutes, and we haven't done the 3-star, so we're way behind. Let me do the
I'll make it quick tonight. I promise I'll make it quicker.
No, it's me, too. It's me and you, because there's so much to talk about. 10 goals, shootout. It's awesome.
This is great.
Yeah, first place.
Oh, boy.
So let's get to it real quick. I'll do the read. 714 Tickets. It sponsors Catella Chronicles 3 stars of the game that Dominic will get into right now. If you need tickets to any type of game, whether it's World Cup coming up, whether it's baseball coming up, whether it's the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, doesn't matter. Concerts. You're out of state, in state. Go to 714tickets.com. Use our code HITI. It's not a one-time thing like all these other crappy websites.
All the time.
You could use it over and over, like Dominic said, all the time, and it gets you 10% off. There's no taxes, no fees. The price you see is the price you get, and you get 5% that they give you in your bank that you can use for a future purchase. So it's a win-win-win-win-win. Yep. So with that being said, here's the awesome graphics by Randy to show you who the 3 stars are by Catella Chronicles. Dominic, let them know, my friend.
We're going to make it a little bit quicker tonight since we're already 35 minutes into the one and only post-game show for your Anaheim Ducks. Halos in the infield for the fans, by the fans, by 714 Tickets. It is a great time of year. Hockey season in full swing. Angels, spring training action. You get the best of both worlds here on the network. One team is in first place, and it is the Anaheim Ducks. Your 3rd star of the game. Actually, before I get to the 3rd star, I'm going to give an honorable mention tonight. Because of his OT and shootout performance, The regulation, I'll put to the wayside. Overtime and shootout. Lukasz Dostal gets the honorable mention 4th star of the night. So a little bit of bonus there for you on a Friday.
I like it.
Number 3 star of the night, it's going to be Nhl Leo Carlson. A goal, an assist, a 2-point night. The opposite of Dostal. We're going to look at the overtime and the regulation. We're going to forget the shootout attempt. Nhl Leo Carlson, 21st goal of the season. Great work by him, leading the charge. He is back, my friend. He is absolutely back from his 5-week stint out with that thigh injury and surgery. So Dostal, your 3 slot tonight, your 3 star, I should say. 2 star. All you got to do is this. Cut it, baby. Cutter Gauthier. Cutter Gauthier gets the 2 seed here tonight as he nets yet another goal. 8 goals in his last 8 games.
Damn.
This guy is on a roll. A goal and an assist, a 2-point night. And the Flyers are looking dumber and dumber for giving us him every single day that passes. So number 2 star, Cutter Gauthier. And the number 1 star, he sent this game to overtime, a goal, a hat trick of assists, a 4-point night. The first Ducks player in, I heard it on the broadcast, and Randy and I were trying to confirm it, in about 10 or 13 years, if I'm wrong, someone put it in the comments section, that a player over 34 years old gets a 4-point night in Ducks franchise history. It had been more than 12 years. Kreider does it tonight. He is having a masterful campaign this year, masterful season. 21 goals.
Amazing.
18 assists. This guy is lighting it up right now. A near 40-point season. He has the opportunity, maybe even get a 50-point season, and he is crushing it in the best possible way. That is your number 1 star. So Dostal, your honorable mention, 4 star of the night. 3 star, Nhl Leo Carlson. The 2 star, Cutter Gauthier. And number 1, Chris Kreider.
Hell yeah. What a night tonight for your Ducks. Ducks have a lot of players that can kill you at any time, which is amazing. Man, and if we can get some really good goaltending, the sky is the limit. But Dominique from Catella Chronicles, give a like and subscribe over there on IG for him. He does and puts in a lot of good work and does a lot of good writing too. So be on the lookout for that. And he does cover the Angels and right now doing some play-by-play too. So he's a man of all, a jack of all trades right now.
I do my best.
There you go. Now, so with that being said, we talked about the good. Let's talk about the bad. And the hoser of the night, my friend. The hoser of the night, if I could tell it Chronicles. Let's hear it.
It's a tough one tonight because, again, you don't get to see the Montreal Canadiens, so you don't get to understand the nuances of their team on a day-to-day basis. It's not like San Jose or the Kings or Edmonton or Vegas within that division. But when in doubt, the weight of the world is always on the shoulders of the man in between the pipes. And tonight it's going to be the Montreal Canadiens goalie that gets the hoser of the night. He goes 28 for 33 in saves, an .848 save percentage. He really had no work in the overtime session, but he gave up 2 goals in the shootout, which was the difference in the game. He's played in 25 games, only has 10 wins, so not too great. He's given up 3.43 goals a game. The Ducks exceed that mark tonight, and it's the goalie for the Montreal Canadiens in Samuel Montembeault.
It was just awesome tonight. 6 rounds of extended shootout. That was awesome.
And look who checks in. Hi, James.
James checking in, leaving the stadium tonight there with, if you could comment real quick, he was in the 400 level.
He had a great view. I saw that. He had a great view.
Oh, he did. I'm happy he was there. He picked a great game to go to.
Yeah.
But our boy James, who covers the Angels over there on TikTok, if you haven't looked at his stuff that he does, check him out on The Chair on YouTube. That's his YouTube page right there. He's got some good videos, funny stuff, eating, what is it called? Checking out food
interactive, food influencer.
Yeah, checks out Padre games because he's down that way, but a huge Angels fan. So he does a little bit of everything and also covers football and trivia. So with that being said, though, I got to ask James in the
sidebar. We got to ask James 2 questions. You go your question first.
Okay. My question is, how annoyed were you, or how annoyed were you, James, in the stands hearing the ole, 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 ole from the Canadian fans? Go ahead, Dom.
My second question has nothing to do with the Ducks. James, has it feel to the Raiders to trade Max Crosby to the Ravens? Oops, sorry, football talk. Love you, James. Sorry.
By the way, real quick, Dom, on that one, I'll tell you, Steve Elise was so upset. She's
Me
like, I
too.
wanted him so
Me
bad.
too.
She's like, the freaking Ravens.
I know. I'm like, it's out of our conference. Sidebar, football talk. We don't need to talk football because then Todd will just talk about the Seahawks all day.
There you go.
But
We'll talk about that later.
we'll talk about that later. But here's a great answer from James. I didn't mind hearing the Habs fans tonight. Is it because we got to wipe their tears and win?
Possibly. How were they? How were they? By the way, were they not that bad tonight? Did they treat you all right? And then also, you got Randy checking in. He got 2 sick graphics coming. We played the other stuff. I don't know if you were there, but we love your stuff. Randy's the one that pumps in the videos and's got the great background.
What you see on social media is that boy right there. We appreciate him.
Maverick Entertainment as well. And fuck yeah, we are in first place, Randy. How about them apples?
Let's go. And James on the football comments, I think he didn't expect Max Crosby trade to happen now, maybe in a couple of weeks. And didn't want it to be an AFC team, though. All right. Interesting. He thinks 1 win next year for the Raiders. I'll say 4.
Man.
I'll say 4.
See if they don't screw up Fernandez.
Yep. But you know, I think to pedal back to Ducks here, because, you know, we love James. We love Randy. Thank you guys for everything that you do. The game that you can kind of, you know, unwad your panties a little bit. You can kind of clean the cheeks out, feel happy about it. So a lot of things to clean up at the end of the day for the Ducks. But you're getting reinforcements. Terry and Granlund will be coming back. TBD at the moment right now. John Carlson is, I don't know if he was at the game tonight. He was flying from DC this afternoon. So don't know if he made the game tonight just to be with the team. If not, I would fully expect him to be in the lineup on Sunday. He would have a day to practice tomorrow and just kind of hit the ground running, because I would love for Carlson's first game as a Duck to be at home and not that 4-game road trip in Canada.
Yeah.
So that would be my hope, that they can at least get him in. Maybe you don't expect him to play his typical, 20 minutes on the ice type situation, and kind of figure out. I'm interested to see how the defensive pairings will line up with him in, because you have to assume. I don't want to. This is where it gets a little hard in the best way possible. Do I want to split up Lacombe and Trouba? Not really. You have Minchikov and Gudis. Okay. You have Zellweger, Hellison. My opinion, Hellison's the odd man out, no doubt about it.
Which sucks because he's decent. He's pretty good.
He's okay. Yeah, okay at best. And you don't want to put 2 veterans like a Gudis and John Carlson together, because then you would have to put 2 youngsters in Minchikov and Zellweger, and that's not going to work. So it'll be interesting to see how they play. I would almost like to see, just up the top of my brain, John Carlson with Pavel Minchikov. I think that could be a really nice pairing, that savvy veteranship with building up, and then put Gudis down with Zellweger and kind of see how that works first and foremost. Maybe they put, Carlson with Zellweger, but I think Carlson will get paired with one of the younger defensemen, because I don't want to break up Lacombe and Trouba as of right now.
Yeah, I have to agree. They're playing at a high level as far as all the other defensemen are concerned. Now, last night, as we wrap it up here, we did talk about the 4-game road trip, in Canada, and we'll break that down maybe a little bit more after their St. Louis game. But I got to ask you a question. With the game you're going to on Sunday versus St. Louis, I will be a little disappointed, granted the way they played so far, Dom, if they drop this game to
I don't use those words. How dare you, sir?
In my opinion, a lackluster St. Louis team. Now I know they got to win tonight, but this is a team now that the Ducks have established what they are and who they can be. Now you can start to look at these inferior teams a bit and be like, yeah, they are inferior and we should beat them.
Time to beat them up. Yep.
Yeah. And so imagine, Dom, a win on Sunday with you in attendance.
Yep, they better.
8-1 clean homestand. Bro, that's freaking phenomenal. if they could pull that off.
62 games this year, 35, 24, and 3. Officially, first place for the night as Vegas loses to Minnesota 4-2. The Ducks, 22, 9, and 1 at home. They haven't played a road game in a while, so 13, 15, and 2 still. 8-0 in the shootouts, winners of 7 of their last 10 and 7 of their last 8 on this homestand. The longest homestand in the NHL this season, belonging to the Ducks, of 9 games. It feels like an eternity because of the Olympic break. The Ducks really won't be seeing home ice. They'll see, after Sunday, they'll see home ice once in the next 2 weeks, twice in the next 3 weeks. So they've enjoyed their home cooking, then it'll be packing the bags, and I think that's going to be really great. If John Carlson can come in, play on Sunday, get the vibe of Honda Center, get affiliated with this team, and then pack your bags, go on a road trip, you learn a lot about your boys, and you create that bond rather quickly. And hopefully that Canadian maple syrup road trip in Winnipeg, Toronto, Ontario, and Montreal is successful. But as always, business is business. Sunday, 6 o'clock at home against the St. Louis Blues, and a former Duck, Cam Fowler, coming back to where it all started.
Do you think Husso's in net, or are they going to go with Dostal to close it out?
I don't know. You have a quarter, flip it. If you have a quarter, flip it. I'd be interested to see, I think, because you never want to count anybody out and say, oh, okay, this is going to be a win and just mark it and lead, right?
Yeah.
I really think after Dostal played Winnipeg last week in that OT winner, maybe you see Husso in Winnipeg just to give them a different variety of a different look.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Toronto. You've seen Ottawa once, and you've seen Montreal recently. I wouldn't be shocked if Ville Husso gets the start in Montreal the following Sunday after Dostal. So maybe it's Dostal Sunday, Husso Tuesday in Winnipeg, and then Dostal, Toronto, Ottawa, and Husso cleaning up the road trip in Montreal. I will go with that as my prediction. So I'll say Dostal on Sunday to kind of get back on a more traditional, good, outstanding regulation type game after kind of a little bit of a helter-skelter, clinch the cheeks kind of a game today.
You know what, Dom? I don't hate that. I actually like that. That's a pretty good.
Hey, I said on the last post-game show that Failing deserves an extension.
Hey, is Verbeek in the comments? I mean,
but I did say that the Ducks would go low-level trade deadline. Well, the Ryan Strome trade was low-level. I just didn't expect the pomp and circumstance of John Carlson. So
they got the best.
Right.
Well, no, I think you're fully right, because you called it right. They got a defenseman. They got depth. They didn't go crazy. They didn't have to give up too much, even though, like you said, some fans do. But they were also able to clear some cap space. So it's a win-win, like you said. And one other thing I want to quote you on is, I think before we started this 9-game homestand, I believe you said 13 wins would be amazing, or 13 points would be amazing to get out of the 9 games.
Yeah, that would put us at least, what was it, 6-2-1.
Yeah. You were like that.
2-1.
You were like, that's ceiling if all goes right. And I was like, you know what? I'd take that in a heartbeat. But dude, we have a chance on Sunday to get 16 out of possible 18 points. That's freaking amazing.
Yeah, 3 points more than expected. The Ducks have already surpassed what I thought, which is amazing. They still have the most wins in total in their own division and 4th most in the Western Conference. And now they're being rewarded with first place.
That's sexy.
Those pity points only stack up so much for Vegas. They have 14 pity points in the overtime session alone. The Ducks only have 3.
Yeah, we usually win those games, Dom.
Yeah, but no, if you think about it, that's 11-point difference.
Yeah.
Just for the OT session alone. And then you look at shootouts, the Ducks 8-0, Vegas 1-6.
Damn.
So that right there, again, 11-point difference just because of how well the Ducks have played in the 5-minute overtime / shootout session. The Ducks, if they had only won half, they'd be probably right where San Jose or Seattle is in 4th or 5th place.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look
how massive that is.
It's huge. So you only have, let's see, you only have 9 home games left. So you just played, you're going to finish up a 9-game homestand. You only have 9 remaining in the regular season.
And 11 road games.
Yes. So if you have not been to a game, Ducks fans, I suggest you go. I mean,
714 tickets.
Yes, 714 tickets right away. But just, man, there's a different feel of this team, man. If you're a longtime Ducks fan like us, I mean, you got to go. You got to go because.
And after St. Louis, the Ducks are going to look to make Canada their bitch. Because it's a 4-game road trip in Canada. Then after that, they have 1 game in Utah and then 3 more in Canada with Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. So the next 8 road games to finish up the month of March for the Ducks, 7 of 8 are in Canada. USA, 1 gold over Canada. Jackson Lacombe was there. Take that mentality and make Canada your bitch.
Exactly.
This could be fun. This month could be fun here, folks. Here we go.
I love what Randy says. Ducks finna own Canada. Canada.
Let's go.
So with that being said, this is probably one of the funnest post-game shows. I enjoyed it big time with you tonight, Dom, and with the fans in the chat. It's always great to celebrate a victory, but what a hell of a victory tonight. Getting that 6-5 win or 5-5 shootout, whatever you want to call it, win. Those 2 points are huge. You went from getting 0 to 2, which usually doesn't happen, but that happened tonight, and the Ducks keep it rolling. We got a lot more hockey to be talking about as we get into the baseball season. You mentioned we might cross over with some Ducks and Angels when the regular season starts. So
times are getting fun, my friend. Times are getting fun. And Ducks win 6-5 in shootout. Again, a great night to be a Ducks fan. The X's and O's need a little more cleaning up, but you get bailed out by good defense, good goal, good goalie and Dostal in the OT and shootout session. Kreider, a masterful night, being one of the oldest players, 34 years or older, getting a 4-point game. Carlson, Gauthier, a little bit of everybody getting the job done. And Ducks keep rolling. Winners of 7 of their last 8, cruising at Honda Center. And just a friendly reminder, your 4 stars or 3 with a little bit of an asterisk tonight. Your 4th star, honorable mention, Lukáš Dostal, Uncle Leo Carlson, the 3 slot, Gauthier, the 2 slot, and Kreider, the 1 slot. Todd, Ducks fly together, close this baby out. It is a Victory Friday here for the Ducks.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Anaheim Ducks win! And remember, Ducks fans, to check out the Ducks post-game show on the Halos in the Infield Network with Todd and Dom. Drive home.